हे नंद सुना कुतः हे राधे ब्रज देवी के ललिते हे नंद सुन कुतः श्री गोवर्धन पाद पतले कालिंदी वने तः Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Radha Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Bhagavatam ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glory to the Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Dandava Pranam Prabhuji.
Jai, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Welcome to this SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM class. We thank you very much for honoring the invitation. So, if it's okay by you, we'll put this verse on the screen. We can start.
Okay. Yeah, we can start.
Thank you very much. So, the verse today is 18 and 19. And text 18 has no purport. So, we'll read 18 and 19. So the verse is on the screen now. Our regular host, Sriman Sahadip, has some situation, so I have to stand in for him today.
Okay. So we can start. So I will just read the text 18.
Okay.
Since it has no purport, I will read the Sanskrit and the translation. Then we go straight to text 19.
Okay.
Yeah. Narayana namaskritya narachaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamadhiraya nashtapraya swabhadresu nityam bhagavatam sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the SRIMAD Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely. And today we are treating texts 18 and 19. Text 18 has no purport, so I'll just read that by myself. And then we go to the text 19. So text 18 says, Namani udara ruchira smita subitani he parata he rajuna sake kuru nandaniti sanjal pitani naradeva hirni sprishani smartu nutanti hridayam mama madavasya. Translation says, O king, his jokings and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. His addresses unto me as son of Pritha, O friend, O son of the Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me, and thus I am overwhelmed. So there's no purport. We go to text 19. 19 says, Saya sanatana vikatana bhojana disu aikyat vasasya tavam iti vipralabdaha sakyo sakeva pritavatana yasya sarvam sehe maham mahitaya kumate agame sayana saya sanatana vikatana bhojana dishu ekyat vayasya dritavan iti vipralabdha sakyo sakeva pritivatana yasya sarvam sehe maham mahitaya kurmate agame shaya sanantana vikaitana bhojana disu akyat vayasya ritavam iti vipralabdha sakyo sakeva pritivatana yasya sarvam sehe maham mahitaya kurmate agame. Word for word translation. Saya sleeping on one bed. Asana sitting together or on one seat. Atana walking together. Vikatana self-adoration. Bhojana dining together. Adisu and in all sight dealings. Aikyat because of oneness. Vayasya, oh my friend. Ritavan, truthful. Iti, thus. Vipralabdha, misbehaved. Sakyu, unto a friend. Sakaiva, just like a friend. Pitivat, just like the father. Tanayasya, of a child. Sarvam, all. Sehe, tolerated. Mahan, great. Mahitaya, by glories. Kumate, or one who is of low mentality. Agam, offense. Me, mine. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Shlai C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Generally, both of us used to live together, sleep, sit, and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, my friend, you are very truthful. Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the supreme soul, used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, since the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is all perfect, his transcendental pastimes with his pure devotees never lack anything in any respect, either as a friend, son, or lover. The Lord relishes the reproaches of friends, parents, or fiancés more than the Vedic hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in an official fashion. Om Gyana Timaredasya Gyanan Gyanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunastam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutane Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swaminiti Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashri Tatmane Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutane Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvase Sasuyavadi Pasachade Satarini Vanchakal Patarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratvize Namaha Nityanando Vatutendur Vasuda Pranavarabaha Janavir Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Pradam Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Bhavom Mata Jagat Rakta Rakta Gora Kelevara Adaitam Harinadvaita Racharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavattaramitam Shamanveta Acharya Ashraye Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shantikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama Nama Pankajanabaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajagraye Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandir Gatima Sarvaswa Padam Pujo Radha Mandana Mohano Divya Vindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimadranadgara Simhastanastau Sri Sri Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtyanibir Sivyamano Smarami Shrimam Rasara Sarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karsan Venuswanai Gopi Gopinata Sri Estunaha Taptakan Chanagaurangi Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Devi Krishnamai Proktaradika Paradevata Sarvam Lakshmi Mai Sarvam Kanti Samohini Paraha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. Generally, both of us used to live together and sleep, sit, and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes, if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, "My friend, you are very truthful." Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the supreme soul, used to tolerate all these utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. Bukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayete grim, yat kare patamahan vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam, Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram, Akanda Mandala Karam Vyapta Yina Chara Charam, Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So everyone is welcome to this afternoon's or this morning's SRIMAD Bhagavatam class. And today we are treating texts 18 and 19 of the 15th chapter of the first canto of the SRIMAD Bhagavatam. And so before we proceed to say anything, for our own purification, for our own benefit, and probably for the benefit of the audience, we will seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis on the platform so that we can represent Srila Vyasadeva properly. So in these two verses, Arjuna is revealing his very, very intimate relationship with Krishna. In text 18, he says, "O king, his jokings and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. He addresses unto me as, O son of Pritha, O friend, O son of the Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me. And thus I am overwhelmed." And the text 19, Arjuna continued to speak. Generally, both of us used to live together and sleep, sit, and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes, if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, "My friend, you are very truthful." Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the Supreme Soul, used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. So from these two verses, we can understand the intimacy between Krishna and Arjuna. From these two verses, we can immediately understand Arjuna's position as a great friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the purport to text 19, Srila Prabhupada writes that since the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is all perfect, his transcendental pastimes with his pure devotees never lack anything in any respect, either as a friend, son, or lover. The Lord relishes the reproaches of friends, parents, of fiancés, more than the Vedic hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in an official fashion. So Arjuna is remembering his intimacy with the Lord. Arjuna is remembering the very, very intimate ways the Lord used to deal with him. He is overwhelmed, remembering those intimate dealings with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is Krishna. Krishna's nature is to deal very intimately with his beloved devotees. In fact, Krishna is so sold out to his beloved devotees that Krishna can do anything for the pleasure of his devotees. Krishna can tolerate any insult from his intimate devotees. Krishna can tolerate any words of minimization from his devotees because of the love, of the affection that Krishna has for his devotees. So Arjuna is remembering all these wonderful qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is simply overwhelmed by those transcendental qualities of the Lord. It is said that just as there are three kinds of friends in life, three kinds of friends. We have Suhrit. Suhrit means a well-wishing friend. Krishna mentions that in Bhagavad Gita. Suhrida dehinam. Suhridam dehinam. Suhrit. Krishna as a super soul is a well-wishing friend of every living entity. So we have friends who are well-wishers, and they are called Suhrit. We have friends who are called Mitra. They are very intimate. They know most of our so-called secrets. They know all because they are so intimate that there is nothing unknown to them about their friend. Then we have Bandhus. Bandhu is even more intimate than a Mitra. Sometimes a Bandhu is actually placed on the same platform of a blood relation. In most cases, friends are not of blood, the same blood relation, but relatives are of the same blood relation. But sometimes there is such intimacy between friends that it even surpasses a relationship between relatives. And so that is called Bandhu. So just as in ordinary life, we have these three categories of friends, Krishna also has three different types of friends. They are called Sakhas, Priya Sakhas, and Priya Narma Sakhas. Sakhas, Priya Sakhas, and Priya Narma Sakhas. When the cowherd boys were with Krishna on the pasturing grounds, and then Krishna would enjoy the lunch with these cowherd boys. In that group of cowherd boys, we have all these three types of friends: Sakhas, Priya Sakhas, and Priyanama Sakhas. They are all within the group of friends that go with Krishna for herding the cows on the pasturing grounds. So Shukadeva Goswami reports, Tandrishtra Bhaya Santrastaha, that when Krishna saw that his friends, the cowherd boys, were frightened, he, the fierce controller of even fear personified, said to his friends, just to mitigate their fear, my dear friends, do not stop eating. I shall go and I shall bring your cows back to this very spot. Continue to enjoy your lunch. So, due to the affection that Krishna has for these his different kinds of friends, and due to the affection these different kinds of friends have for Krishna, Krishna did not want to disturb their lunch. He said they should just remain enjoying their lunch. He would go and he would bring their friends, the cows back. So this way, Krishna left to bring the cows back. But Krishna did not find the cows. He went all the way down the Govardhan hill, he didn't find the cows. Then he came back and he could also find his friends. Brahma had stolen the cows first, kept them in some cave. And as Krishna went looking for the cows, Brahma came and stole the boys also and kept them in another cave. And Krishna came back, there were no cowhead boys. Now he was alone. No cows, no cowhead boys. And Krishna cannot live without his devotees. Krishna, he's always surrounded by his devotees. It is said that Krishna is different from the Vishnu forms or Narayana forms because of his 4 exceptional qualities. Rupa Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, and Prema Madhuri. These are the 4 exceptional qualities that Krishna has that makes him surpass the Narayan forms. Rupa Madhuri, Krishna's beauty is unparalleled. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Eternity, consciousness, and beauty are Krishna's constant companions. Eternity, auspiciousness, and unparalleled beauty are Krishna's eternal companions. As soon as you see Krishna, you see eternity. As soon as you see Krishna, you see auspiciousness. As soon as you see Krishna, you see the embodiment of all beauty. In fact, Krishna niraksha vanito saya rupam salam. Krishna's beauty and character create a festival for everyone, both in the spiritual world and in the material world. Krishna's beauty attracts everyone. No one can resist the beauty of Krishna. Even the animals, even the trees, in Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is moving, the animals, their eyes are there. The trees are bowing towards the direction. The winds are blowing that direction. Where Krishna stands, River Yamuna flows towards the direction. That is how attractive the Supreme Personality of God is. Rupa Madhuri. Venu Madhuri. Venu Madhuri is Krishna's sweet flute blowing. It is said that Krishna's flute music is actually the music of the spiritual world. Everywhere in the spiritual world is permeated by the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. And everyone in the spiritual world is relishing this flute music. Just like when Krishna was in Vrindavan, and at night, Krishna will blow the flute. The gopis could not sleep. Even Lord Shiva broke his meditation on the Kailash mountain. When Lord Shiva heard the flute of Krishna, his meditation broke, and Lord Shiva came running from the Kailash mountain to find the source of this very, very nectarian flute music. Lila Madhuri, Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's pastimes are outstanding. Even Narayan becomes attracted to Krishna's pastimes. Even Lakshmi is attracted to Krishna's pastimes. It is said that Mother Lakshmi is still performing austerities in Badiravan, in Vrindavan, one of the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Mother Lakshmi is performing great austerities in Badiravan in order to participate in Krishna Lila in Vrindavan. So Krishna's Lila are so wonderful, are so nectarian, are so sweet, that even Lord Narayan himself is attracted, and Srimati Lakshmi Devi is attracted. Then Prema Madhuri. Prema Madhuri is the loving devotees of Lord Krishna. The devotees of Krishna, they love Krishna so much, just as Krishna loves his devotees so much, that Krishna never wants to be alone. He is always with his devotees. At least, if there is no one else, Srimati Radharani, who is the representation of devotional service, the topmost devotee, if there is no one else, she will be with Krishna. Because Krishna is known for his sweet, loving relationship with his devotees. So when Krishna came down from the Govardhan hill, after he could not find these cows, only to meet a yawning vacuum, his cowhead boyfriends were gone. Krishna felt very unhappy that he has lost his friends. Of course, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nothing can bewilder him, nothing can trouble him. Krishna is described as Parata Para. Parata Para means he is better than the best. Parata Para is better than the best. So nobody is equal to him and no one is greater than him. He stands out in everything he does. So therefore, immediately Krishna expanded himself into all the cowhead boys, showing how dear these cowhead boys were to him. So it is said that the Sakas, their relationship with Krishna is based on the qualities of handsomeness and skills. Actually, these are called Udipanas. Udipanas means items that create ecstatic love. There are qualities of Krishna that creates ecstatic love for the devotees, and there are qualities of the devotees that increases Krishna's love for the devotees. And these are described by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakta Rasamrita Sindhu as Udipanas. So it is said that the Sakas, the first level of friendship, or first level of friends, their relationship with Krishna is based on handsomeness and skills. And because of that, they're able to play with Krishna as equals. There is a very beautiful story that once in Badiravan, Srimati Radharani inquired from Krishna, how do you play? How do you interact with your sakas here in Badiravan? Srimati Radharani was asking Krishna, how does Krishna interact with his sakas, his friends in the forest of Badiravan? And Krishna replied, I dress as a wrestler, and I wrestle with all my sakas. And because I am expert in everything, none of these sakas can win the battle of wrestling, the match of wrestling. I always emerge victorious. And Lalita Saki and Radharani said, all right, we have heard how wonderful you are a wrestler, how you defeat all your sakas. Can you dress again in that dress? We want to see that dress, that your wrestling dress. We want to see. We have desire to see it. So when Radharani and Lalita Saki requested Krishna, Krishna manifested that dress, his wrestling dress. At that time, Radharani and Lalita, they were very happy to see Krishna in that wrestling dress. And so what happened? Radharani also dressed up as a wrestler. And Radharani entered the arena with Krishna and challenged Krishna to a wrestling match. And Kandarpa, the goddess of love, became the referee of that wrestling match. And he also became the judge of that wrestling match. In that match, there was no winner, there was no loser. There was no winner, there was no loser. Because Krishna is expert in wrestling, but he cannot display his expert wrestling before Srimati Radharani. When Srimati Radharani embraces Krishna in a wrestling match, his deep love for Krishna conquers Krishna, that Krishna cannot display his strength. So in that match, there was no winner and there was no loser. But the audience, they were satisfied. Lalita was the audience. Kandarpa, the god of love, was the audience. They were so satisfied to see such a display of wrestling. So, but the point here is that Krishna wrestles with his sakas on the pasturing ground. Most of the time, when they go out with the cows, they just play unlimitedly. They just play. They just enjoy themselves, playing and playing and playing, wrestling and wrestling and wrestling, and playing all different kinds of games with Krishna. They forget that they have come to take care of the cows or the cows. They just enjoy Krishna's association. Similarly, it is also mentioned that the Priya Sakas, those who are even more intimate with Krishna than the Sakas, when they are returning from their pasturing grounds, they witness great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Devarishi Narada, They line up by their pathways on this side and on that side. When Krishna is returning from the pasturing grounds with his intimate friends and the cows, they line up and they offer arti to Krishna. They offer worship to Krishna. They perform melodious bhajans in the accompaniment of celestial musical instruments. And the prayer shakis, they alone witness such an intimate worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such great personalities like Brahma, Shiva, and Narada Rishi. It is also mentioned that for the prayer Nama Sakas, those who are very, very, very intimate with Krishna, they are with Krishna 24 hours. The Sakas, the prayer Sakas, they are with Krishna part of the day, and at the end of the day, they go home. But for the prayer Nama Sakas, they are always with Krishna all the time. Prominent among these prayer Nama Sakas are Subal, Arjuna, Gandharva, Vasanta, Ujjwala, and Sudama. It is said that once at a place called Venukupa in Vrindavan, Krishna was with these very, very intimate Sakanama Sak, Priyanama Sakas, and they express their desire to drink water. So Krishna picked up his flute and looking in a meditative way on Mother Earth, on the ground, Krishna began to blow his flute very intensely. And it is said that the flute music of Krishna penetrated the earth planet and went all the way to Patala Loka. And from Patala Loka, a spring, a very sweet spring of water came gushing out. It was cool, it was sweet, it was nectarian, it was just wonderful. And these intimate Priyanama Sakas, they quench their thirst by drinking that water. Now, the interesting thing is that even though they see all of these manifestations of Krishna's Aishwara Gyan, Krishna's opulences, but it does not affect their Sakya Bhav. It doesn't affect their friendly relationship. They still remain as very, very intimate friends of Krishna, and they continue to relate to Krishna, just as Arjuna is relating here and remembering those intimate relationships, and he's feeling great separation from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita makes a very, very important statement. Sudabhave Sakakari Skande Arohana. Sudabhave Vrajeshwari Karena Bandhana. Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukadeva Goswami, his Guru Maharaj, how is it possible? How is it possible that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai became parents of Krishna, and Nanda Maharaj could send Krishna to go and bring his shoes, and Yashoda could bind Krishna, and Krishna could suck Mother Yashoda's breast milk and call Yashoda mum, mum, mum. When Parikshit Maharaj heard this wonderful Leela of Krishna, the intimate relationship between Krishna and his devotees, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukadeva Goswami, Nandakim akarod brahma, Sreya evam mahadaya, Yashodava mahabhaga, papo yasha stanam hari. Oh Brahmana, what pious activities did Nanda Maharaj perform to become the Supreme Personality of Godhead's son? Father. And what kind of activities did Yashoda Mai perform that made the absolute Supreme Personality call him mother, mother, and suck his breast milk? So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami answered this question in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. As we may be wondering, what has these devotees do to become so intimate with Krishna? The sakas, the Priya sakas, and Priya Nama sakas. How did they become such intimate associates of Krishna? So Krishnadas Kaviraj, Sudha Bhave Sakakari Skanda Arohana, Sudha Bhave Rajeshwari Karina Bandana. That in pure consciousness, in pure devotional service, a friend mounts the shoulder of Krishna, and Mother Yashoda binds Krishna with a rope. So all these sakas, Priya sakas, and Priya Nama sakas, they have simply won over Krishna by their devotional service. And therefore, Krishna relates to them in a very, very intimate way. And even sometimes, when the devotee undermines Krishna, minimizes Krishna's position, just as Arjuna is saying here, Krishna overlooks it. Because of that loving relationship, that affectionate relationship between Krishna and his devotee, Krishna overlooks the offense. In fact, Prabhupada writes that it says, the Lord relishes the reproaches of friends and parents, friends, parents of fiancés more than the wedding hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in official function. So even Krishna, because of the love for his devotees, even when devotees reproach him, devotees chastise him, devotees minimize his position, Krishna relishes that reproachment, chastisement as bhakti. it is mentioned in the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM how when the bee approached Srimati Radharani, bumblebee approached Srimati Radharani to sing about the glories of Krishna, Srimati Radharani began to condemn Krishna. He says, Mirgayo eva kambidram vivyade lubda dharma. That your Krishna you are talking about to me, he's like a hunter. He cruelly shot the king of the monkeys valley. Because he was conquered by a woman, he disfigured another woman's face. And after consuming the gifts offered by Bali Maharaj, he bound him up and sent him to Patala. So why should I deal with such a person? So Radharani was condemning Krishna. Now Krishna, as Ramachandra, he hid behind a tree and killed Vali, like a sinful hunter. And he disfigured the face of Supanaka, the sister of Ravana. He removes Supanaka's nose and ears and disfigured her face. And after Bali Maharaj had offered everything to Krishna in surrender, Krishna bound him up with the ropes of Varuna and sent him down to Patalaloka. So Radharani said, why should I offer my love to such an ungrateful person? But then Radharani said, well, we cannot stop talking about this person. His pastimes are so sweet. His names are so sweet. His form so sweet. Everything about him is so sweet that even though we don't want to talk about Krishna, we are forced to talk about him. So devotees, exalted devotees like Srimati Radharani and the gopis and Arjuna, sometimes they condemn Krishna, sometimes they say some words to minimize his position, but out of love for his devotees, Krishna forgives them. That is the wonderful character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the wonderful character of the devotees. And that is the wonderful relationship that exists between Krishna and his devotees. And that is displayed in these two verses. I think I will end here. Thank you very much. If there are any questions or comments, you're most welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
His Grace SRIVAS VANACARI ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this wonderful additional pastimes. At a point in time, I was finding myself out of this world because these are beautiful pastimes that some of them I've never had it anywhere before, and they're so enlivening to hear such pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. So enlivening. Thank you so much for revealing these confidential pastimes of the Lord.
Our past mercy, Gurudev's mercy. Ishwara Prabhu is here. Ishwara, nice to see you.
You're welcome, Ishwara Prabhu. So, dear devotees, thank you very much for being here.
Sadhya Prabhu's hand is up.
It's already up, so we know it's always there. So, Suma Sadhya Prabhu, please kindly unmute and ask your question, and then we'll hear from Ishwara Prabhu later.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sadhaka Prabhu, and thank you so much, His Grace Srivas Vanacharya Prabhu. I am so grateful to Sri Guru and Krishna, and probably my stars, because I had to attend to something quite important, and I wasn't going to be able to be here. And I wanted to do both. And so somehow Krishna arranged that I was able to attend to this particular meeting. I had to attend, but it ended so quick that I was able to rush back home to attend this meeting. And like Salika Prabhu was saying, it's just too sweet. And when we read the scriptures that Ananta Sesha, with thousands of heads, still praying that he wants more ears to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. I mean, those of us here can attest to that because we wish this can go on nonstop. But as usual, I have some questions because you talked about Radharani complaining about Krishna, about how mischievous he is, yet they cannot give up thinking of him. And some people are with the opinion that the Ramayana in particular is kind of, excuse me, let me ask these people to turn up. Sorry. Some people think that the Ramayana is misogynistic. In other words, in the Ramayana, they hate on women because all Supanaka did was to approach Ram, that she is in love with Ram. And she ended up losing her nose and her ears. Yes. So what sort of culture is that? So I want you to shed a little bit more light on that. Was that the reason why Lord Ram cut off Supanaka's nose and ears, or there was something else? Hare Krishna.
Well, you know, our philosophy is that when a devotee is attacked, we should defend the devotee. So my understanding is that when he approached Lord Ram to marry Lord Ram, he wanted Ram to marry her. And Ram said, he referred her to his brother, Lakshman. He said, for me, I already have a wife. But here is my brother, he's celibate, he's single, he's a bachelor, you can go to him. And then he went to Lakshman. Lakshman referred him back to Ram. See, I'm a brahmachari, I have nothing to do with women. So go back to Ram. He's the king. He can marry as many wives as he wants. Nothing stops him. So he went back to Ram. And then it is reported that he attacked Sita. And when he attacked Sita, that's where some of the Ramayans report. When he attacked Sita, then Ram had to defend Sita. And so he cut off his nose and cut off his ears. But I think the most important thing is that because she was a demoness and the Lord had come with a mission, the demigods had prayed for Lord Vishnu to appear in this world to diminish the population of demons. She would have been the first demon Ram would have killed, actually. But according to Dharma Shastra, a woman should never be killed. So Ram, observing that principle, decided to punish Supanaka. Instead of killing her, which is again Dharma Shastras, he just cut off her nose and cut off her ears to teach her a lesson. So the mission of the Lord Lord Ramachandra was to deal with the demons, reduce the population, annihilate the demons. And he did that at the end when he destroyed the whole of the dynasty of Ravana. So, but because she was a woman, Ram did not want to kill her, and so he only punished her. So, but Srimati Radharani is saying that he did that because of his attachment to Sita. Well, people can say different things, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is independent and he can do whatever he likes. Ishwara Jagana Kartum Akartum Anyantra Karite Samanta. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is independent. He can do and undo. Nothing can nothing can stop him from doing what he wants to do. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's statement to the devotees in Puri. So, Lord Ramachandra, he could do anything he wanted to do. He could have even killed her, but for the purpose of observing religious principles, he did not want to kill her. Like in the case of Krishna, Baki is Putana. Bakasura is the brother of Putana, and Baki is Putana. Krishna killed Putana. But before Krishna did that, he hesitated. He did not want to. Yeah, it is there. He hesitated because a woman should not be killed. But the scripture also says one who comes with poisonous, comes with poison, comes with weapons, comes to attack, you have to defend yourself. Of course, Krishna's killing is not ordinary killing. Even though Putana had come to kill Krishna, Krishna promoted her to become a maidservant in the spiritual world. And so that was very glorious. So my understanding is that Lord Ram, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can do anything he wants to do, and nobody can stop him. But in that case, he was defending Sita because...
Thank you very much.
Ishwara Prabhu is here, maybe he can also...
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sorry, Sarika Prabhu. Thank you, His Grace, Srivas Vanacharyya. I actually asked this question because I wanted you to explain so that in case a devotee might have come across such allegation against the Ramayana Mahabharata, one would be better situated in understanding and explaining. Because just like you were explaining, I heard from one other Acharya who was giving explanation to this, and he was saying that because there are different versions of the Ramayana, sometimes it is said that Supanaka was had this nose and ears cut off simply because she approached Lord Ram for love, but that was not the case. But the reality was that according to Valmiki's Ramayana, Valmiki explains that Supanaka got her nose and ears cut off by Sri Lakshman because Supanaka wanted Sita dead.
Yes.
Because once she knew that, so this Ram is married, and because he's married, he does not want to have me, then the wife must be dead. If the wife is dead, then he's going to have me. So it's just like what you said. So thank you for the deliberation. Hare Krishna. Salika?
Okay, thank you very much.
Ishara wants to make some contribution on this point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, before Ishwara Prabhu comes in, there are some few comments on the chat box. Mr. Vinda Mataji was concurring with my observation. Thank you very much, Mr. Vinda Mataji. And Sriman Vara Prabhu posted, I think, about the chopping off of the nose of Supernaka. That was done by Lakshman. And I was going to clarify that also because I think, it was Lakshman that did that. And he also made the observation that Lord Ramachandra actually has killed a woman before meeting Supernaka because when he went out at the beginning of the Ramayana with Vishwamitra, the demon Ketaba actually was a female. And Vishwamitra had to encourage him to go ahead and kill when he was reluctant that it is So those are the two comments on the board. So I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah. So Ishwara Prabhu, can you go ahead now and make your comment contribution? You're unmuted already.
Okay. Oh, I'm unmuted. Okay. Hare Krishna, you can hear me?
Hare Krishna, yes, Ishwara Prabhu, we are hearing you well.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'm here in Vrindavan. It's very hot here, 45 degrees. So,
wow.
So the question with the Supernaka, who was to be killed? Who actually, of course, is the sister of Ravan, and her coming to the forest where Lord Ramachandra was staying, along with the Lakshman and Sita. So that happened the last year of the exile. The last year of the exile, because Lord Ram was supposed to be in the exile for 14 years. So the last year, that beginning of the last year was that. And that's when the Supernaka came and in order to, she became attracted to Lord Ram basically. And then she changed her form as a beautiful woman, and then she appeared there to the ashram where Ram and Sita was staying. And then, of course, she expressed, her love for Lord Ram, a desire to marry Lord Ram. But Lord Ram, he has a vrata, he has a vow, ekpatni vrata. He marry only one wife. He's devoted to only one wife, not so many women like Krishna did. So of course the Lord knows that he's a demon. I mean, she was a demon, but at the same time they did not want to just tell her, okay, look, I will have fulfill your desires, but this is my wife, and I've committed myself to only have one wife only. And then the Lord thought, okay, why don't you go to my brother? He's a Hebrew man. You can marry him in a Lakshman. He's here, you can marry him. Because he did not make such a vow like I did. So you can go to my brother and marry him. Actually, Lakshman is not, actually, Lakshman also was already married also because he was married to Umila. Because during the marriage ceremony of Lord Ram, so Sita has the three other sisters, Umila and the other two who are married to Satrigun and Bharat. So Lakshman was also married to Umila at that time. But when Lakshman was coming to the forest, so Umila will not, of course, she will not come. Lakshman did not allow her to come with him. So essentially, Lakshman was a brahmachari because he left his wife. He left his wife behind in the forest. I mean, sorry, his wife behind in the city. Ayodhya.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ayodhya, yeah. So when it was like a kind of humorous thing between Lord Ram and Lakshman that, oh, maybe my brother can marry you. Uncle Lakshman said, no, I cannot. I'm a servant of my brother. I'm not in a position to do that. And then she was, Spanaka was going back and forth to Ram, then to Lakshman, to Ram. Of course, then she knows that this brother is simply making fun of me. And then she revealed her true form as a demoness. So now, okay, I'm going to kill Sitadev. So that if I kill Sitadev, then Ram can marry me. And of course, immediately Lakshman, he grabbed her and then remove her nose and her ear and disfigure her. Now that disfigurement actually had a meaning because she offered her heart to Krishna, I mean to Lord Ram. So in order to actually fulfill that particular desire, because it has a meaning. So to fulfill that desire, the law making known that okay, no other man will marry her, will ever marry her, no other man. And then when Krishna appeared, when Krishna came back, the next yuga, so she remained unmarried because she was disfigured. And when Krishna came, the Lord came of Krishna, so it was the same Supanaka who appeared as Kubja.
Yeah.
So I appeared as Kubja, as she was hunchback. So she was hunchback, which means she was disfigured. No man will marry her hunchback. Even though she was so-called society girl, but still no man will marry her. So, and then when Krishna came to Mathura, after when Krishna came to Mathura, and after the wrestling, then the Lord went to fulfill her desire. She was very attracted to Krishna, and then Krishna actually fulfilled her desire. That's in that story. So, which means anyone approach God, no matter what their intention, either your demons or devotees, still somehow their intention will get fulfilled. Just like even if just like you mentioned, Putana, who came to kill Krishna, she came with even her intention was to kill Krishna, but she decorated herself as a mother. Decorated herself as a mother, but her intention was to kill Krishna. But however, the Lord did not see her fault as a demon. The Lord simply looked at that appearance of a mother. And that appearance of a mother, that's what the Lord accepted. Even though the Lord killed her, but still, he granted her that position of a mother. So Putana became one of the mothers, the spiritual one. So we can see that even though no matter what our intention is in devotional service, the Lord sees only what we do. The Lord, that's what the Lord said. So therefore, Uddhava said that who else can I take shelter of? Kanvan Dalu Sana Prapana, that who else can I take shelter of? When that person, a demon came to her to kill him, but still, the Lord did not look at the fault, but he gave her the position of a mother. So therefore, Uddhava was saying that who else can I take shelter of? Kanvan Dalu Sana Prapadi. So that is the situation with Supanaka. And somebody was Supanaka. Who came first? Okay, Supanaka. I had. I'm trying to see. The sister of Bali. The sister of Bali.
Daughter of Bali.
Okay, the daughter of Bali.
And Baki is.
Bali. So the daughter of Bali was
Putana.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's Putana. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes, that's Putana.
Okay, so daughter of Bali, that's Putana. Okay. Yes. So anyway, that is the just with the Supanaka. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any comments? Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Eshwara Prabhu. Devotees, if there are anyone with further questions, please kindly indicate by raising your hand. Well, I have a question, Prabhu. in your answer to Sade's Prabhu's question, and also even further with the question, explanation that Ishvara Prabhu just gave, Supanaka was punished because of her misbehavior. Of course, she's a woman. And of course, Vira Prabhu also mentioned about Ketava, because of their kind of activity, so they were punished. And even though the Dharma Shastra says that the woman should not be killed, they were still, but that still they were killed. And we can see that most of these pastimes, there are previous life experience and they carried into the next life. But in our conditional life, we do not have knowledge of what is in the past, neither do we have control of the future.
Mm-hmm.
We only have the present. And then sometimes we cannot explain certain things that happens when a woman behaves directly as a wife or an admirer or something like that. One of the major discussion that is going on at the United Nations now about women and treatment about women, about abuse of women is when a woman, at what point should a woman be punished? Even a slight provocation of slapping is being considered at different levels as a very grave offense. So how do we understand when a woman should be punished in our practical experience, that it doesn't become against the this principle of scriptures or religion?
Well, if you read the Dharma Shastras, it actually says a woman is not punishable. Dharma Shastra says a woman is not punishable because they're like children. In fact, it said that an 18-year-old woman, 17-year-old woman thinks like a 12-year-old boy. I think a few days ago, this question came up, the difference between men and women in a class. And I was saying that, you see, each and every one of us is simply playing a role. We play roles of men and others play roles of women. In this life, in a previous life, we played different roles. And in the next lives, we may play different roles. But the bodies are made specifically to play specific roles. A man cannot be pregnant no matter what, because the body that a woman is given is designed for that purpose. So according to Dharma Shastra, because the women's bodies are designed in such a way that they reason like 12-year-old boys, they should not be punished. They should be tolerated. They should be educated. In fact, I was listening to one lecture by Srila Prabhupada yesterday, and he was saying something like, a woman should never go to Gurukula, but a man must go to Gurukula. Then he said, when the man is trained in a Gurukula, then he trains a husband, he trains a wife at home. The wife or the girl, what she needs to learn is how to cook very nicely and how to keep the home very nicely. These are the two most important qualities of a woman. Cook nicely and maintain the house nicely. For spiritual training, she has to get it from the husband. And Prabhupada said, then the husband must be a devotee. He must be a devotee of the Lord in order to impart spiritual knowledge to the wife and to the children. So the training is most important. And that training is how to become a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, punishing a woman is actually not recommended. That is why we even see that the Lord is hesitating to punish Supanak, hesitating to kill the demons that Vishwamitra took them to go and kill. Krishna was hesitating to kill Putana because no matter what a woman does, it is said that she should be tolerated. That's what the Dharma Shastra says. Of course, that is very difficult, especially in the age of Kali. In other ages, people could tolerate a lot, so it wasn't very difficult. But in Kali Yuga, tolerance is completely gone. The quality of tolerance is reduced to a minimum. But if we want to follow the scriptures, a woman should not be punished. The only way you can demonstrate your anger is not to eat the food she cooks, because she puts all her heart, all her energy, all her meditation into cooking. If she does something which is outrageous and you want to let her understand that what she's done is bad, then one could decide to fast without eating the food she has cooked, and she cannot take it. It's so painful to her. So that is what one can do, not physical punishment like beating and other forms of corporal punishment. It is actually not recommended by the Dharma Shastras.
Thank you very much for your answer. We have Harishakra Prabhu's hand up. Harishakra Prabhu, please kindly unmute and make your comment or question. Thank you. Harishakra Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hare
can hear you.
Krishna, Hare Chakra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, His Grace SRIVAS VANACARI. Thank you for your class.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Now, the question I even have in mind now, based on the question you just answered, a lot of more questions are trying to pop up in my mind. So now I'm getting a little bit confused. But let me go to my original question. Okay. During your deliberation and on the lecture, you were mentioning how sometimes Krishna was criticized by pure devotees, and you specifically mentioned that if anytime Krishna is criticized by his devotee, Krishna consider it something. I've forgotten the exact word you use. That Krishna takes it as a pleasure.
He overlooks it.
He overlooks it and takes it as a pleasure. But this is the scripture telling us this. Then at the same time, the same scripture tells us that we shouldn't offend Krishna's pure devotees. We shouldn't criticize Krishna's pure devotees, especially like if somebody is your senior or something. We shouldn't criticize them. So my question is, if even Krishna himself allows himself to be criticized by his devotees, who comparatively they know that Krishna is way exalted than his own devotees, though. But if he can bring himself to that extent for his devotees to criticize him, how then are we for one not to criticize? Because if you look at the criticisms that mostly Krishna's devotees give to Krishna, Somehow or the other, it's like they are speaking the truth. Like if you see Sita's being critiqued about Krishna, most I'm not saying Radharani's critique about Krishna. Most of the time, the things he criticizes Krishna about is the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, for instance, when Krishna, I've forgotten this. The story is even escaping me, where that led to the formation of Radhakund and Shamakund.
Okay, when Krishna killed the bull, the cow, the bull,
okay, and Radharani criticized him.
Yes,
that was the truth. That you, Krishna, you said the cow is very dear to you, and you kill a cow, and Radharani is mentioning to you that, oh, because you kill a cow. So the question I'm asking is that how come that the same scripture is telling us that we shouldn't be in the position to criticize our senior?
Well, my understanding is that it is Krishna who is saying his devotees should not be criticized because his devotees are very dear to him. I think in the 11th canto of the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, Krishna is telling Uddhava that you are so dear to me, you are even more dearer to me than Balaram, than Lakshmi, and even than my own very self. Krishna is making that statement to Uddhava. So because the devotees are so dear to the Lord does not tolerate people or others criticizing him. Actually, the verse is 11th canto, 14th chapter, verse 15. Natata me priyatama, Krishna is saying, oh, Uddhava, you are so dear to me that Atma Yunir means Lord Brahma, is not so dear. Sankara, no Shiva, is not dear.
11 canto chapter what, Mara?
14, 15.
11 canto chapter
14, 15.
What? 11?
11 canto chapter 14, verse 15.
Okay, 14.
Yeah, verse 15. Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Say, oh, Uddhava, you are so dear to me that Atma Yunir, Lord Brahma, is not so dear. Shankara, Lord Shiva, is not so dear. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, she is not so dear. Even Balaram is not so dear. And even myself, I'm not so dear as you are dear to me. So who is greater than the devotee? Who is greater? The devotee is greater. If you become a devotee, then Krishna will make you greater than him. So it is said that a devotee is even greater than the Lord. And therefore, Krishna does not want his devotees who are very dear to him to be criticized or harmed or wounded or like that. So it's Krishna who is speaking. So that is what Srimad Bhagavatam says. I'm sure if you read in the purport, the commentators of the 11th canto will make reference to avoiding, criticizing devotees because the devotees are so dear to Krishna. Of course, we have what is called constructive criticism. Constructive criticism means that you approach the person, you first of all glorify him for the good things he does, and then you place your criticism before him. So in that way, he sees that you're not just attacking him, but you want to have a situation corrected. So when we want to correct somebody, we want to criticize somebody, The principle is, first of all, say something good about the person. Let him feel that you're not criticizing him out of envy, out of malice, but you are doing it out of love. So when you glorify the person and then you bring up the criticism, then it balances. So that is the recommendation given by the acharyas, given by the scripture. You can criticize, but you should do it in such a way that the devotee doesn't get offended. We cannot avoid making corrections. We cannot avoid bring out some issues which are very important, but the way it is done, that's the difference. So Krishna himself is speaking in this verse, how the devotee is to him, and therefore one should be a bit careful not to attract Krishna's anger, because the devotee is so dear to him.
So, Hare Krishna.
Have I answered your question?
Yeah, thank you. Thank
you.
you.
He can contribute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Ishwara Prabhu, let's have your comments.
So just a slight correction. It's not that devotees are criticizing Krishna. Devotees will never criticize Krishna. The 11 devotees like Srimati Radharani, the kind of chastisement is something that is done out of pure love. It's done out of pure love, and that pure love, so therefore the chastise Krishna is also out of deep feeling of separation. It's not that they just want to chastise Krishna because they say themselves as if they know better, so they want to tell Krishna he's doing what they. No. It's done out of pure love, which come out of intense feeling of separation. So when the gopis, especially when they're in the forest among themselves, and the Krishna is not there, so they started feeling intense feeling of separation, and then they said so many things. Oh, Krishna, you did this, you did that, you kill it there, you kill like you kill it there, as Lord Ramachandra. Or you keep
Bali like a hunter.
But just like a hunter. So they are saying all these things, but it's not that they're criticizing Krishna, no one, because they know. But the point is that this is done out of intense feelings of love, of separation of Krishna. And then Vrindavan, Krishna is not seen as God. Krishna is just seen as a relative. He's not seen as God. Because if Krishna is seen as God, no one would think of criticizing God. So, but he's seen as just their relatives. So that's just sometimes your relatives, you can charge your, you can chastise your relatives, or you can praise your relatives, because everything's all done out of intense love. So whereas on the other hand, you see the case of Shishupal, who was criticizing Krishna. And in that assembly, everyone knows that Krishna is the supreme Brahman. God is just Brahman. In that assembly, in Asnapur, in the assembly of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So when Shishupal was criticizing Krishna, so he fruited all the assemblies, all the Kshatriya, they all are ready to kill him. They are ready to kill him. Krishna tell them, don't, just leave him alone, don't kill him. Because why? Because Krishna had made a promise. So Shishupal models that he will not kill Shishupal until Shishupal committed 100 offenses. Because that was the promise he made to Shishupal when Shishupal was a child. Because when Shishupal was born, he was born with the 3 eyes. So he was born with 3 eyes, and which means that was something that was kind of abominable. So, and then he was going around trying to find out how the 3rd eye can be removed. So she was told that to go and see Krishna, because Krishna is there. So she went to Krishna, and Krishna told her that this 3rd eye will be removed as long, but I will kill him only Oh, actually, sorry. She went to see a sage. She went to see a sage, and that sage told him that that person who the child will see, and that thought I will be removed, that person will kill that child. So that person will kill that child, the person that the child will see. Who the thought I will be removed, that person will kill is that person going to kill the child? So the mother was going all over Mathura and all that. And then she came to Krishna. And at the moment the child saw Krishna, the eye was removed. So the mother was begging Krishna, was praying to Krishna that please, I know that you are the one who's going to kill my child because this is what's been foretold by the rishis. So please don't kill my child. So Krishna said, okay. He said, my promise that I will not kill your child unless it criticizes me 100 times. If it criticizes me 100 times, then I'll kill him. So in that assembly of Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Sisupa, because Krishna was chosen as the first person to be worshipped, that Sisupa objected to that, and then he started criticizing Krishna. Who is he? Nobody will know him. He's a cowherd boy, this and that, this and that. So when everyone was actually getting ready to kill him, all the Pandavas were ready to kill him, but Krishna said, no, don't kill him because I had a promise. And so it was continuously criticizing. Even so many great personalities, they all left because they don't want to hear the criticism. So they all left the assembly. So now, as he was going, now Krishna told him, now you have 2 more Christians. After this, I'm going to kill you now. And of course, Sisupa was so blind. He said, oh, I have thousands of more criticizing I have of you. And then after that, so the moment he reached 100, he was killed. The moment he reached 100, Sisupa was killed. So therefore, criticism is never done. The devotee will never criticize Lord because he's a worshipable Lord. But what happened, the chastisement the gopis have towards Krishna is simply out of love. Just like even in that prayer, the last, I think today's verse, the last verse, when Arjuna was saying that sometimes I will chastise Krishna sometimes. You know, this is something that is not out of love. It's not out of envy or out of superiority. So when something is done out of love, then all the boundaries, it's no more room. It's not taken out when something is not love. So that's something we have to take into consideration. So therefore, the criticism of devotees is never allowed. We should not criticize devotees. Actually, unless we are able to,
thank you very much, Mr. Prabhu. Okay, Sriman Vara Prabhu, please kindly unmute and make your comment or question.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, Srivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nice to see you.
My obeisances to all the devotees on the floor. Hare Krishna. Very nice to hear your lecture, full of, Krishna Katha. When we hear Krishna Katha, hearing about Krishna, it's very enlivening. And actually, Bhagavatam is more interesting when it is in the glorification of Krishna. And I regret that I have to ask this question because it may take us a little bit away from, the wonderful katha we've been hearing. But with your permission, I'm going to ask this because it's good that you are present, and I can ask you the question directly. I saw something on the WhatsApp group posted, by Sahadev, and saying something, a long story about Sunyani land. And I'm encouraged to ask this question because of what you just said right now. If you want to criticize a devotee, you should say first, good things that he has done. And when I read through that that whatever it is titled about the Sunyani land. First thing, and the only thing that keeps going through my mind is that I visited Sunyani more than 2-3 times. And I think some of this time it was in your presence. And I remember you taking me to the lawyer and defending the land. So I'm confused. I mean, how could SRIVAS Prabhu be party to whatever they're saying? Because when I was there in Ghana, more than 3 times, I could remember more than 3 times I visited Sunyani. And almost at every time, maybe if it didn't happen, it's because you were not there. But for all the time that I visited Sunyani and that you were there, you were taking me to this lawyer and explaining what was happening, and you were defending the Ishkan land from being taken or encroached by this devotee called Akura. And there are many things you even told me, which I could still remember about what was happening, but I don't want to go into the details. So I'm happy you're here and you've been implicated in this matter. I would like to hear you, Prabhu, to speak also in this forum. How come you've been implicated like you are now backing those who are trying to encroach on Krishna's property?
Thank you very much, Sriman Prabhu, please kindly hold on. Thank you very much for bringing this up, and I really appreciate the courage and the concerned matter which devote YouTube Live. I will rather want that this matter be discussed when we are offline. We can stay back after the class has ended officially and discuss this. So wish if SRIVAS Prabhu has the time this evening, we can do that. But I would rather want to request humbly that we do not go into this matter while on live Bhagavatam class. I'm doing this not because I have the authority to do this, but because I'm the host here today, and I have the permission of the authorities to coordinate this class. So I will humbly request you, not an instruction, but humbly requesting that we discuss this offline. We finish with the SRIMAD Bhagavatam topic. I hope that is okay by you.
Are you addressing that to me or to SRIVAS Prabhu?
Well,
is that addressed to me or to SRIVAS Prabhu?
Yeah, it's you I'm requesting because you are the one asking the question. I'm asking SRIVAS Prabhu not to respond, but I'm asking you first for your permission to allow us to discuss this outside of the YouTube because we're online, YouTube Live. And I think this is subject matter that is not supposed to be discussed on YouTube Live. We can discuss this outside of this class. We can stay back, we can do all of that, but I'm requesting that we don't go, the answer is not answered, the question is not answered now until after we finish with the SRIMAD Bhagavatam class, if it's okay by you.
It's up to SRIVAS Prabhu to decide.
No, I'm asking you first because SRIVAS Prabhu, I want to request him also not to answer, but because you are the one that asked the question, so I'm directing to you, so that it doesn't become offensive. But I want you
HARE
to.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
HARE Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Salika Prabhu, I think what you've suggested is okay. Sriman Vara Prabhu cannot enforce that it should be now, it should be later. So what you've said is well taken. So I think Jagat Vasu Prabhu, Govinda Prabhu had a question.
Yes. I'm saying, I'm also supporting what Salika Prabhu is saying, because this is SRIMAD Bhagavatam class. It should not be part of the SRIMAD Bhagavatam class. So this can be discussed after the class. That's
Thank you very much.
HARE Krishna.
Okay, on that note, I think we can move forward. Thank you, Bhagavata Prabhu, for your comment. Govinda Prabhu asked a question, so we'll go to Govinda Prabhu now. Thank you very much for your support, devotees.
Hare Krishna devotees, Hare Krishna, SRIVAS Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Govinda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think we are all enjoying this nectar flowing from the lotus lips of SRIVAS VANACARI Maharaj.
Yeah, just we have heard from Prabhupada, from Guru Maharaj. It's not from my lips.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so nice, you know. But I have a question here.
Okay.
Actually, I have about 3 or 4 questions. Yeah. But I'll make it very brief.
Okay.
But before then, I would also like to humbly suggest that when a chance is given for comments, we should make our comment very brief. If we prolong our comment, then that is like throwing the main speaker away. And that will make us lose track and also lose the nectar that is flowing. And it's a little bit disturbing. And so it's something that I'm trying to chip in, that if we can adjust ourselves. I believe the speaker has so much to say about any question that is asked. But the question asked and answers comes based on the speaker's realization and how he wants his audience to learn. And so simple answers is given by the speaker, and it carries a lot of weight. So the speaker knows why he make it very brief. I'm not saying we should not give comments, but we should make our comment very brief. Thank you very much. My question is that, my question is, I would like to know, SRIVAS Maharaj, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, many men died on the battle. And these men, well, most of them were coming from Hastinapur. And so the ladies in Hastinapur lost their husbands. And we all know when one loses his dear one, how he feels and his mood towards the offender, one who has killed his wife or husband. But in the case of the ladies in Hastinapur, knowing that Krishna was present, he did not participate in the battle directly, but they knew that Krishna would have done something. He could have stopped the war. He could have protected their husbands. But Krishna was there watching for their husband to be killed. And so Krishna was to be blamed. But instead, these women were rather happy with Krishna. So when Krishna was leaving Hastinapur, they were standing, giving him all farewell. So I would like to understand the mood of these ladies. Why were they happy with Krishna? They were supposed to be attacking Krishna. This is a first question.
Well, thank you for your very, very deep, thought-provoking question. Yeah, when Krishna was leaving Hastinapur, people were crying, actually. It was more or less like the scene that was enacted when Krishna was to be taken away by Akura from Vrindavan. It is said that when Akura arrived in Vrindavan, it was on a Ekadashi day. Akura had fasted the whole day, he didn't eat anything. And then he arrived in Vrindavan, he was just meditating on Krishna. And so when he arrived and broke the news to Nanda Maharaj that he had been sent by the king with a special chariot to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura to see a wrestling match. Nanda Maharaj broke the news to the other families, and that very night, the news spread throughout Braj that Krishna was going to leave Vrindavan the next day to Mathura. And the gopis could not bear. They could not bear the absence of Krishna. They could not bear the separation from Krishna. So the whole night they did not sleep. They planned and replanned how they're going to stop Krishna from going to Vrindavan and from going to Mathura. So the next day they formed a human wall, and they will not allow Akura to pass with his chariot. And so when Akura was trying to force his way, they became violent. And they started to drag Akura down from the chariot. They were heckling him like anything. And at that time, Krishna had to intervene. Krishna told the gopis, my dear gopis, I have some business to execute in Mathura. And as soon as I finish that business, I will come back. And so it is said that those words Krishna gave to the gopis was very soothing to their hearts and their minds, that they immediately allowed Akura to drive the chariot out of Vrindavan. And in fact, and it said that those words kept the gopis alive. So it is said that Krishna has three kinds of mercies. He has Vachika Kripa. Vachika Kripa means the mercy coming from Krishna's words. Vachika Kripa. And then we have Aloka Dana Kripa. Aloka Dana Kripa means mercy coming from Krishna's form, Krishna's personal beauty, Krishna's personal darshan. When Krishna wants to favor a devotee, Krishna makes his darshan available. That is Krishna's mercy. Alokana Dana Kripa. Krishna's mercy, when Krishna presents himself, manifests himself before the eyes of the devotees. And then the third form of Krishna's mercy is called Harada Kripa. Harada Kripa means Krishna enters the heart of the devotee and Krishna empowers the devotee. Examples like Shukadeva Goswami, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, like Ramananda Raya. All of these devotees, Krishna entered their heart and empowered them. So in the case of the women of Hastinapur, even though their husbands were killed in the battle, but somehow or the other, they still wanted Krishna's mercy, because they knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There had been a lot of interaction between Krishna and the residents of Hastinapur. Even when Krishna went as a messenger to avert the war, and Duryodhana would not accept. And Duryodhana wanted to arrest Krishna. And Krishna had to display his universal form in order to keep Duryodhana away from his nefarious plan to arrest Krishna. So all these news they have heard, how Krishna had made several attempts to avert the war. And they also knew how the Kurus, they also tried to naked Draupadi. They also knew all that, how the Kauravas wanted to see the nakedness of Draupadi in the assembly hall. So they knew all this. So therefore, even though they have lost their husbands in the war, may they understood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna is leaving us, so we should go and have his darshan. We should take his last mercy in the form of aloka dana kripa. So with that understanding, they rush to line up to have a glimpse, the last glimpse of the Supreme Personality of Godhead before he left Hastinapur. So we can also understand that these ladies were very exalted. Even though they lost their husbands and they were going to live like that for the rest of their lives with their husbands, but they were still inclined to taking darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why it is said that women as a people, they are very simple-hearted. Women are simple-hearted. And so Prabhupada writes in one purport, when you go to religious organizations, you will always see more women than men because they easily accept, they easily submit, they are simple-minded. And so they despite all the trouble, the disadvantage, the calamity that was on the ground, they still felt, let us go and have our last darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because before Krishna left Hastinapur. So that is the little I can say why the ladies in Hastinapur still honored Krishna, still took his darshan, and of course they were blessed by going to see Krishna, because even their husbands who died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it is actually said that almost all of them were liberated because they heard the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna spoke to Arjuna, and also most of them died in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so they were elevated. So that understanding was also there. And so the wives, naturally, we want to take advantage, take the mercy of the Lord before the Lord left Hastinapur.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yeah, so if we permitted to ask my second question.
Yes, you can do so.
Yes, so the second question is in connection with the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the women of Hastinapur, they honored Krishna before Krishna departed. And Krishna, looking at them, he also gave them a smile.
Yeah.
And this smile was also given to Lord Shiva. When Shiva wanted to see Krishna's Mohini form,
yeah,
he gave him that smile. And again, the same smile was given to the four Kumaris when they were in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So this Krishna's smile, what does it mean? when he smiles, because when Shiva was given the same smile, it wasn't a blessing for Shiva. But all the same, Krishna gave him a smile. And the same smile was given to the Kumaras and also the gopis. So will you kindly explain about this smile of Krishna?
Well, the scripture says that Krishna's face is a mind of germs. Krishna's face is a mind of very, very valuable germs. And then it further says that Krishna's forehead, Krishna's moving eyes, Krishna's cheeks, Krishna's lips, Krishna's smile, and Krishna's chin. These are very, very special jewels, special gems that when one sees them, when one glances at them, one gets a glimpse of them, he relishes so much joy within the heart. So the face of Krishna is an ocean of bliss, ocean of germs, valuable germs. And in that ocean, his forehead, his eyes, his cheeks, his chin, his smile, his lips are considered prominent germs in that ocean. And so when Krishna wants to benedict a devotee, he smiles at the devotee. Now, in the case of Lord Shiva, that smile was actually a chastisement. It was a heavy chastisement because Lord Shiva desired to see the Mohini Murti, the Mohini form of Krishna. And Krishna knew what was going to happen to Lord Shiva in seeing that form. So that smile was not a smile of a blessing. It was a smile of chastisement. And Lord Shiva would have taken a cue from that. He should have just ended the whole thing there. But he still went forward to see the Mohini form. And it was very devastating for him, even in the presence of his dear wife, Parvati. Lord Shiva lost control of himself. So we can say, though Krishna's smile is very captivating, Krishna's smile is very enchanting, Krishna's smile is very satisfying for the devotee. But sometimes through the same smile, Krishna chastises a devotee. And that's what happened to Lord Shiva. But for the Kumaras and for other devotees, that smile is very enlivening. That smile is very elevating. That smile is just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Srivas Anachari. Govinda Prabhu, I hope this is the last question.
Thank you very much, Srivas Maharaj. Yes, last but one. Last but one. You know this, Maharaj. The last sentence to this question. But Krishna's smile, some are blessings and some are chastisement.
Yeah.
I would like you to break it down.
Okay.
To step down to our level. How in our dealings with devotees, in our attempt to render certain services to the Lord, we do not have the ability to encounter with Krishna and to see whether he's happy with what we are doing or not? How do we balance it? What are the yardstick for us to know that what I'm doing is pleasing to the Lord and this is displeasing to the Lord? You may have a desire to serve, but that desire may be either granted by Krishna or not. Like Shiva wanted to see him in that form, you know. So I would like you to break it down to our level so that we can learn something from here.
Yeah, Lord Shiva is a very exalted personality. Actually, Lord Shiva is even more exalted than Lord Brahma. His position is very high. And he is supposed not to have requested to see the Mohini form of the Lord. But somehow he heard how that form had cheated the demons when after churning the milk ocean and the nectar, the pot of nectar, Amrita Kumbham, came out, and the demons seized it and began to run away with it. And the demigods were feeling very frustrated. Then immediately Krishna took the form of Mohini Murti because he knows that demons are very attracted to the female form. And that's the only way he could solve the problem. So he appeared in the form of Mohini Murti and demanded to take the pot of nectar from the demons. And because of her bodily beauty, female attractions, the demons agreed and they gave the pot of nectar to her. So Lord Shiva, being a great devotee, Param Vaishnava, he's supposed to understand the purpose of that pastime. Because the Lord manifested that form purposely to deceive the demons and obtain the nectar for the demigods. But when Lord Shiva heard the pastime of the beauty of that Mohini Murti, he should have understood that this form is really manifested and it is manifested for the demons, and therefore he should not have, wanting to see the beauty of that form. So that's why Krishna smiled, and that smile was a chastisement. That Shiva, you should know better. You should know better. But you want to see this form? The smile was a question mark. It was 3 in 1. It was a warning, it was a chastisement, it was a question. And Lord Shiva should have taken a cue from that. But somehow, in fact, it's also said, the Acharyas also say that Krishna wanted to teach the whole world that even a great personality like Lord Shiva could lose balance when he was agitated, when he saw the beautiful form of Mohini Murti. There is a story of how Lord Shiva, when he lost his wife, when Daksha offended Lord Shiva, neglected Sati, and Sati destroyed her body. She did not want to have any relationship with Daksha anymore, so she destroyed that body. And so Shiva became a bachelor. And Shiva went to the Himalayas and he was performing great austerities. And the demigods, they wanted a commander-in-chief of their military. So they sent Parvati. Parvati had taken birth Sati has taken birth as the daughter of Parvati. So they sent the demigods, sent Parvati to go and induced Lord Shiva to have sex with her so that a child could be born, Kartikeya could be born. It is said that Parvati was touching the genitals of Lord Shiva, but Shiva was not moved. At that time, Parvati was like 16-year-old, young girl, and she was touching the genitals of Lord Shiva. He was in meditation. He was not moved by it. So, but in this situation, the Lord manifested that form, and before he manifested that form, he warned him. But it is also said to demonstrate that even a great personality like Lord Shiva can be lured, can be attracted, can lose its balance in the presence of a very beautiful woman. That pastime was displayed. So the lesson is that no matter how great we are, we have to be aware that in the presence of a very beautiful woman, one may lose his balance, which Lord Shiva did. That is the lesson, like that's Acharya's commentary. So,
thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Time is going.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Srivas Vanachari, for that beautiful explanation and narrations of the pastime that led to Lord Shiva and the lessons that to be learned by us in our own devotional life. It's been 2 hours, 20 minutes. We've been on this class, SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM class. And I think, of course, there are no hands up now. So I think at this point, we'll want to officially close the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM class. But before we do the normal end of rituals of closing of the Bhagavatam, I want to request that after chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that His Grace Srivas Vanachari, please kindly give me some few minutes after the chanting before you leave. But I want to close officially after the chanting of the Hare Krishna. So at this point, we request all of the devotees to unmute themselves and let us loudly chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to appreciate His Grace Srivas Vanachari for this SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM class. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Panchakarpatarubhyascha, Kripasindhubhya vacha, Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Sriman Srivas Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai.